Alrighty guys, welcome to another episode of the Poncho's Paint Booth, where we do have some hobbies and models, primarily 40k. As always, like and subscribe here on YouTube to my page, Multi-Murdy Media. Also on Instagram and Facebook by the same name. You'll get Poncho's Paint Booth, this playlist. You'll get, this is again here on YouTube. You'll get the Gutsy Ass Gamer, which is my video game and Twitch stream. Condensed highlights, you understand. And you get the video format for Jankety Ass Podcast, which is my podcast, which is also available on pretty much every major podcast platform and a bunch in between. So what are we doing today? 40k again, this time. Again, into the Necron Destroyer cults. We are working on the Hexmark Destroyer. Here, I'll go ahead and come on down to our workbench for you to better see. So this guy is very similar to the Scorp Hex, which I'm pretty sure I already did. I'll make it happen. Now, unlike the Scorp Hex which run around in the squad, these guys are single character models. And it's basically, this is basically the El Duce of 40k. It's one man with 6 guns. But he's not as forgiving. So, we're going to follow pretty much the same specs. The skin's going to be done with steel gray, and then all the little niches and fun stuff is going to be done up with Drakenhof Nightshade. And once again, the bottom of the legs here, or like after this third joint, we're going to leave that alone for now. So it'll really just be the majority of the legs, the torso, head, well, parts of the head too, actually. Or not the whole thing, because it's got this faceplate thing going on, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but it's not going to be blue. That's going to be something else. And then he has got 6 arms, so that's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, but we're going to deal with it. So, once again, let me get my stuff ready here. Starting off with Steel Rain, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, blue base done with this guy. So now, yeah, that's the blues in most of his body. You can see I left his face blank because he's got that plate sitting over top. And this guy has a lot of nooks and crannies. It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. But, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is get back in there with the nooks and crannies. That's going to be Drakenhof Nightshade. And without wasting any time, let's get into it. so that was actually a lot less than I thought I would have to do. But that just means we're done sooner. For now. So we're going to go ahead and let the little wash elements dry. There you go, another pseudo close-up for you. So we'll set him down, and we'll come back to this in a little bit. Alright, coming back in on our Hexmark Destroyer, or our El Duce of the Necrons. So we did the skin already, or the base of the skin. And you can also see I added on some skulls to the base. Speaking of bases, we'll deal with that later. Obviously I'll, prime them off camera and all that bullshit. But for now, we're going to finish the, I guess the best word would be the shell. It's not skin because it's metal. So I guess shell, carapace. Not sure what the best word for it. But what we are going to do is next we're going to dry brush over those elements with our scorpion green to give us that nice green tinge. That's really kind of unnatural looking, but that's also the point, to be unnerving. And then on the legs, which kind of make up the quote-unquote canoptic sections, and also on the guns here, except for basically just sort of on the main chassis of his pistols, so to speak, or pistol hands. That's also going to be done the same. And for those elements, we're going to go over them with electric blue. And by go over, I mean dry brush them. So I already got my pad here. Got my dry brush ready. So let's get those started. Okay, so that is our dry brushing done on this guy, and I wanted to continue on and start working on the inner mechanisms and metallics, but I still have quite a bit of this green left on my palette here, and I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to move on to, a little inside Hollywood for you. I'm going to do up the next video that I'm also working on, and I'm going to take a break on this guy for now, so I promise we'll be right back. Alright, like I promised, we're back. And obviously we're not done with this guy, so I gotta come back anyway. Let's see what's next. So yeah, we're gonna get into the internal mechanisms now. So all the joints and all that stuff, and there's a hell of a lot more joints with this guy because it is quite literally a spider. 6 arms and, well, shit, no, never mind. 9 limbs. Not quite a spider. More than a spider, better. With guns. Spider with guns, whose joints are about to get that rough iron. Let's go. Cool. Alright, so I went ahead and I did both parts. I put the earth shade on there just because, well, I was listening to something and I didn't want to put the brakes on it. But, so it is a little hard to see here, but we got some of the inner metallics done. Ooh, shit. Inner metallics done. And, as always, we're going to let this wash dry off, and then we will come back to this. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. Okay, so the wash has dried off, and it's time to move on to, well, some more paintbrushing, obviously. Some more dry brushing. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to finish off these, the innards, so to speak, by over all the sections that I did the rough irons, so like the spine and the joints and all that stuff. We're going to dry brush on some true copper, bring out some of the edges and highlights and stuff. I will also take this time to apply a layer of field gray to the base here, just kind of get that nice undercoat for later. And of course, that's also going to go onto this piece of ruined scenery that's in between his legs. Can't really see it that well right now, but you will be able to once I get it all painted up. And then last, I'm going to start working on the glowing effects. So what that is we're going to add white to, well, it's going to be this big-ass ball on top, of course. And then there's a few spots, actually. The firing chamber, well, no, just the one spot. You can kind of see in the middle of his, well, let me see if I get closer. So in his gun hands there's kind of like a, yeah, you can see like a nice open chamber. That's going to be also done up with the glowing effects, so we're going to paint that white. And then last, on his on the two leading legs, they have this ball joint here. We're going to go ahead and do that up with the glow as well. And what that's going to look like is after I do the white, of course, we're going to add our Hex Wraith Flame technical paint. Once again, that just sort of it gives a nice green tinge over it. Well, actually, here, you know what? I just finished up the plasma sight here, so it's basically going to look like that whatever the fuck it's called, that ball in the middle there, chamber, I guess. It's gonna, it's gonna be beautiful. So, put these aside. Let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do everything at once. Sweet. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and let all of this dry off whilst I move on to other projects, as I am working on other stuff at the moment, including this, all related, you'll see. Or maybe you've already seen. But, so, yeah, I gotta start on the base. And yeah, we glowed up all over. Added some glow kind of all over to his pistols, and of course his sphere on top. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we'll let that dry off now. And we'll come back in a moment. Okay, our Hexmark's coming along quite nicely. We got some nice glowing effects and all the guns and all that stuff. There's going to be a lot more to do with like all these wires and shit, but for now, we're going to do a couple things. So first up, we're going to do up the skulls that I applied to the base, and that's of course going to be done with our Drake's Tooth paint. Following that, well, I'm going to do another thing, and then I'll go back onto the skulls and apply the Agressive shade to, add some detail in there. And then next, we're going to apply the radium to all the fancy parts. So that's going to be the shoulder pads, the sternum piece that he's got kind of in here, and then I'm also going to use it on the faceplate on his helmet. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe. Yeah, you can kind of see it, but he's got, a bunch of eyes. 6 eyes. No. 7 eyes. Well, actually, I think that one's just a hole in the middle of his face. But, so first up, let's do up the skulls. Or the Drake's Tooth, and we'll see. I'm probably just going to do everything in one shot. But, here we go. Alrighty. Fun stuff down. So now, all that's left to do for now is let's go ahead and apply the shade down here to the skulls. And I'll just kind of let you follow along with me. This time we'll start with this skull. Right here underneath the legs. And fortunately it looks like this time the white, or the Drake's Tooth dried up pretty nicely, so I don't have to worry about my wash getting mixed up with the color, which never helps. And one more here. And this last little one hiding in the dirt there. There. So, there. We got some fun details in. For now, it's a lot of focus. Come on. Yeah, whatever. It's not finished anyway, so. But we're going to go ahead and let all of this stuff dry for now. And we'll come back to it in a moment. Alright, so we're coming along pretty good on our Hexmark guy here. So there's really only a couple of small things left to do. Well, actually, not that small. But, well, there's only one major thing we have left to do on the actual guy, and that is to get all these wires and stuff, mainly coming out of the his central pylon here he's got on the spine. And for that, we're of course going to be using pure red, as you've seen me do before. And so what we're going to do is that's going to get, again, all the wires going from the back to his arms, also including the little nubs at the end of the gun that kind of serve as sights or whatever. Because that goes to his face, which has 6 eyes, which we're also going to hit. And then there's one small one that you can kind of see in his abdomen that I didn't do the pipes in there just because like it's a hard to see kind of area, and I also like using negative space to really pop out different details of the model, i.e., if you can't really see something, you don't really need to paint it. But in this case, having like a little bit of a red speck underneath that you can barely see is also kind of a whatchamacallit, like a technique. So what we're gonna do is, time for pure red. Alright, this should do it for the wires. It is a little much. There's a lot of these wires, and I do realize that with the red, they kind of look like entrails. But that's the whole point, is to have some contrast. And in this case, this actually helps me, since the idea is I would normally run this with all my other Hexmark Destroyers. And the first time I tried it, whenever everything was unpainted, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where he is, because you want to get the positioning right. But so that's the wires. Pardon my drink. Put this away. Then one small thing I want to do real quick is on his face. You notice there's kind of like there's a divide right in the middle of his faceplate. So I'm going to use some Nuln Oil real quick and just fill that in, as well as the cavity in the middle of his face. And that will help those details stand out, or I guess stand in would be the proper term. So I think you might be able to kind of see whenever this thing goes into focus someday. Any day. There we go. Yeah, so those details in his face are picked out, and you can see his eyes are painted, or her eyes. I mean, these things are technically genderless. So now I'm going to start working fully on the base. And to do that, get my base brush. Whoa, dropping everything. And we're going to start in with our rough pumice. So this is going to kind of form like the base of a rocky texture. And you guys have already seen me do this before, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Alright, I think that's pretty... That should do it for this. For now, so what we're going to do is we're going to let this pumice dry. And once it dries, then I'll go ahead and add in the wash on the base off screen. That's going to be Nuln Oil again. Just to, save time, and then we'll come back and finish the base, because that'll be, because the last deal is, just sort of pick out some of the details on all this stuff on the base, and then add in the snow, and that'll be it. So, I will come back in a... You already know what's coming up next. It is time to finally finish off this guy. So, in order to do that, the first thing we're going to do is it's time to dry brush over this base with our ash gray. That'll pick out all of the grain details, and then of course the edges on this piece of ruins and this rock that we got back here. Ooh, jeez. I'm tired of waiting to finish this guy, apparently. So, we'll do that. We'll clean up some of the edges on the base here. That's just going to be black. And then we're going to add the snow. But first, let's get into our dry brushing. Okay. So we got all the painting done on this guy. So now it's time for the last detail, and that is our textured snow. Pretty easy to deal with. I just need my texture brush. Crack this thing open. And it's really just a simple matter of just scooping this stuff up and applying it to the base. So here we go. Alright guys, there you have it. That is the Hexmark Destroyer in all its glory. And I say it's because, again, these things are genderless, we don't really know. But regardless. And if I don't actually remember if I really explained before what this thing is, but well, the idea is oh yeah, I did. He's the Necron El Duce of 40k. Let's come up now, get one more nice shot. Yeah. Cool. Hexmark Destroyer in the books. Another episode of the Paint Booth, also in the books. Oof. I went out a little bit ago, finally. Let me get this cleaned off for y'all. So, yeah, just another one of our Destroyer cult models that we got done there. So, once again, I'm saying so too much. As always, thank you for watching this show. If you haven't already, go down to, well, the corner. Yeah, right here. Like and subscribe to my overall channel, Multi-Murdy Media. You will get this playlist, the Ponchos Paint Booth. You will also get the Gutsy Ass Gamer playlist, which is, actually, there's a couple of them out there, but that's my video game Twitch stream. And you'll get the video format of the Jankety Ass podcast, which is that playlist. That's my podcast. At the time of this recording, it's with me and my buddy Tom. We might have more by then. I don't know. Don't hold your breath. And of course, also go and find Multi-Murdy Media on Instagram and Facebook. You will like it. Go ahead and like and subscribe there as well. You'll get all the updates for episodes as they come out to all my various shows. And I might already have this by now, but there will be a new website. It'll be down here in the links on the episode description. Just go check it out. I'm sure this will be done by then. But yeah, and so and of course, if you want to listen to the Jankety Ass podcast as well, it's on every major podcasting platform and a few more in between, as I like to say. So, once again, thank you for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this. And yeah, I got plenty more episodes coming up. It's going to be a lot, so stay tuned.